So I want to talk about a new paper from a team at Google and Peking University, and it is called PaperBanana. I know the name sounds very similar to Nano Banana, but what it really does is it generates publication quality diagrams from plain text descriptions. Now, you probably must be thinking, Nano Banana Pro already does that, right? It generates infographics, diagrams, and all kind of visuals. And I agree. I exactly had the same question. But here's the thing. Nano Banana Pro is one model doing everything in one shot. You give it a prompt, you get an image. If something goes wrong, a label is off or a connection is missing, you have to regenerate the whole thing and hope for the best. Paper Banana takes a completely different approach. It uses five AI agents working together. One retrieves reference examples, one plans the entire layout, one applies design guidelines, one generates the image, and then the last one actually critiques the results and sends it back for revision. It's a generate, critique, refine loop. And here is what's interesting. Paper Banana actually uses Nano Banana Pro internally as the image generator. Same model, but instead of just prompting it directly, it wraps it with four other agents to add planning, style enforcement, and quality control. And the results are very impressive. Let me show you one of those. All right, so now I'm in anti-gravity and let me show you the results that I generated, right? So let me just close this and zoom this. And you can see that this is the output that I was able to generate. And this is all from a simple text description. Look at the subtleties here, right? Look at the color coding. The encoder layers are all in one palette. The decoder layers are in another palette. The sparse routing mechanism has its own color. The arrows showing data flow are really, really clean and directional, right? And then the pre-ln annotations are just in the right places. Even the residual connections are shown with dashed lines. Now, this isn't a pretty picture, right? It is actually explaining the architecture in really, really detail. It knows what connects to what. Now, a very important disclaimer here. I did not use the official code from the Google and the university collaboration to generate this. They have not released the official Paper Banana code yet. What I use is an unofficial community built open source implementation. It's on GitHub. I will link it in the description as always. All right, so right now I've opened the community-based GitHub repository, which is on Paper Banana. They have also very clearly called that this is an unofficial open source implementation of this particular paper. So make sure that whenever you're using this, you are aware of that. I think the official code is going to be released in the next couple of weeks. So please let me know in the comment section if you guys are interested in me making a video on the official code once it launches. So what we are going to do is we can just go ahead and clone this directly from GitHub. And then once you have cloned it, then you will set up your API key. So I already did that. So here you can see that I've cloned this anti-gravity. So I have all of these same files in my local repository over here. Now, let me go into a little bit more detail here. So the cool thing for you to know here is these are the different agents that are working together. So you can see that there is a visualizer, there's a stylist, there's a retriever, planner, critic, and the base agent. You can go ahead and look into each one of these and just try and understand how it works, right? And the key thing again here is under the hood, it is going to be using the Gemini 3 Banana Pro model. But again, it's these five agents or six agents here. The base agent is the base agent. So basically five agents here working together in order to give you that kind of an output. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to run a couple of commands. So they've already given this transformer method in detail. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to ask it to create a diagram using Paper Banana with the transformer model sample input. And the sample input is right here, right? So this is the first thing that I want to show where for you to understand this, you can go ahead and use the sample one. Once it generates this, then we will go ahead and create a brand new one where we will give a completely detailed prompt in text and we will see how the output is generated, right? So right now, anti-gravity is working, and this is where I love the fact that anti-gravity can also debug and all of those interesting things. I'm just going to let it run and I will show you the output, what it has generated. Okay. So we'll give it a few seconds and we will come back after it has generated the output. All right. Looks like it has completed the job. You can see here that the diagram has been successfully generated, and this is the process flow that it has followed. So let me just zoom into this a little bit. So This is the system retrieved three relevant references, then it executed like a detailed planning exercise, and then it also refined through three iterations of generation. So let me show you how that looks like. So here you have an output folder, and you can see before showing this video, I wanted to make sure that I run it once. You can see that different runs over here, but this is the latest one. And you can see that, as mentioned, like they have run through three different iterations. This was iteration one, iteration two, and iteration three. And this is where for each iteration, they actually generated these different diagrams. So this is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. And this is the final output that it has created. So this is really in detail, and it self-corrects, right? So based on how the improvements are happening, but then that's the idea, right? So you can see that how that whole loop works together, and which I believe is actually required if we have to create these kind of diagrams, right? Which is not easy to generate just out of the box from any sophisticated image generation model. This is really good. All right, so now that we have seen this, I want to give it another test where I want to ask it to create something totally different. So let me give this particular prompt to it, right? So create a text file called ADK generate ADK agent.txt with this content. Our agent system is built on Google's ADK kit and consists of a root orchestrator agent that manages three specific sub-agents. The first is a research agent that uses Google search and web browsing agents, stuff like that. So basically what I'm asking is to really create a sophisticated diagram for Google Agent Development Kit. Now, I feel that I understand the Agent Development Kit framework very well, so I will be able to give a real review of what it has generated. And of course, most of you also definitely understand ADK. So let's look at it together on what it is able to come back with. And as always, like if there are some errors, etc., Anti-Gravity does such a good job in creating this. Now, the idea here is that we had given this particular example. So we needed this transformer underscore method.text, right? So I'm following that leak where I am saying that, okay, I'm going to give that. I'm asking it to create text as an input, and hopefully it should be able to generate an output based on that. So again, we'll give it a second and we'll come back and I will show you what it is able to generate. So it looks like it has completed the job. So let's look at the last run. So this is what it has been able to create, right? So this is the first iteration. This is the second iteration, and this is the third iteration, and this is where you have the final output. So let's try and understand this, right? So user asks a query, there is an orchestrator agent, depending on whether this is an A2A agent and stuff like that, right? So then there is a research agent, then there's a data analysis agent, which is also leveraging BigQuery, and then there is a report generator agent, and there's also like a persistent memory store and Firestore. And you can also get the output in a structured business report. So this is really interesting because it is able to now create an end-to-end diagram of what an agent could look like in terms of how, if you were to build something like this, which is a multi-agent architecture using Google Agent Development Kit, this is precisely how it should work. And some of the subtleties here, right? Shared session state and how the arrow flows. It also understands the different tools that it has got access to. It also has mentioned that this will get like real-time information directly. It also talked about pandas, which is fantastic because you can use it to structure the data better and stuff like that. And it is talking about which particular model will be generating the report as such, right? So this is really cool, right? So I gave it a completely new ask outside of what is available in the example, and it was able to generate this. And I can, if I were writing a white paper, like this could be part of that white paper, and it would look like someone has actually like spent a lot of hours to create this, which is what PaperBanana's objective is, right? So if we can give a detailed prompt, we can get a really publication ready output, something like this. Now let's talk about the actual numbers from the paper, because what I showed you is the unofficial version. The paper tested this properly on their full benchmark. They evaluated on 4 dimensions: faithfulness, conciseness, readability, and aesthetics. Vanilla Nano Banana Pro, just prompting it directly, scored 43.2 overall. PaperBanana scored 60.2, beating almost every single baseline. And here's what really surprised me. On conciseness, readability, and aesthetics, PaperBanana is actually beating human-drawn diagrams. The only area where humans still win is faithfulness, which makes sense because we exactly know what we mean to draw, right? But then this is a pretty significant result. So why should you care about this? Number one, this is agentic AI at its best. 5 specialized agents collaborating on a creative task with self-critique and iteration. This is the pattern that's going to define how we build AI systems in 2026 and beyond. Number two, this is not just for researchers. If you create architecture diagrams, system design docs, pipeline flowcharts, pitch decks, visuals, this changes your workflows. Solution architects, product managers, startup founders, developers, anyone who has ever struggled to turn a complex idea into a clean visual should be able to use this. And number three, the official code hasn't dropped yet. The paper said code is coming soon. That was January 30th. So it could drop anytime soon. And when it does, that's going to be a whole another video. So please do let me know in the comment section, what diagram would you want PaperBanana to generate? Drop your use cases below and I will test the top request when the official code launches. And I'll put all the links in description, the paper, the unofficial repo, and you should be good to go there. And of course, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you're interested in getting more enterprise AI tutorials like this, and if you've liked the video, please hit that like button as well. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.